What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mel here for another classic review. Since you like yesterday's review on Jimmy Neutron, the Phantom of Retroland, I think it's best to do another classic. A Nightmare on Retroville. Yeah, it sounds like a parody for. Sounds like a parody for A Nightmare on Elm Street, but this is well. Okay, I'm going way ahead, so yeah. Before we begin, did you subscribe? Did you hit the bell? If so, what are you waiting for? Better hit that button because you're all going nuts. So this was the 10th episode for season 2, I think. It was aired on October 29th of 2003. And I was in first grade when this came out. It's like a Halloween special where the gangs, Jimmy, Carl, and Sheen trying to figure out what it would be Halloween, and Jimmy feeling too old for Halloween. That's when he made a machine that can turn you into an actual monster. Oh boy. No kidding. He actually made a machine that can turn you into an actual monster. But I'm getting carried ahead. In the opening title, we see Goddard carving a jack-o'-lantern and howling at the moon, while the rest of the gang are in the clubhouse, where she's asking the question, where you all be for Halloween? Which Carl replies, Llama Man, but with a cape! Which Sheen is getting tired. Well, Jimmy's getting tired of the same thing over and over. So yeah. So Jimmy decided, well, this Halloween would be more different, so meanwhile, in the house, Jimmy's dad, he was actually watching a classic 50s monster movie of a giant octopus alien. Wow, looks like a parody of Godzilla. Which, yeah. Back at the clubhouse, Jimmy shows the machine. Looks like a roulette machine that shows every monster, like the Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera, Dracula, which Carl's choice was Dracula. As for Sheen, the Wolfman. And they started the transformation. Sorry, I have a chest pain. That's why I'm talking a little bit. Whoops. And I was saying, the first one was Jimmy. No, the first one was Sheen. Carl and Sheen got their monster match. Which, yeah, it looks pretty dope, and after that, they decided to go trick-or-treating. Meanwhile, while they're out trick-or-treating, Jimmy's dad unknowingly went to the clubhouse and went to his lab, like usual. And mistaken Jimmy's machine for one of these roulettes from a game show? Yeah. He spun it, he pulled the lever, and guess what he became? The Frankenstein monster. Yeah. During trick-or-treating, everybody was going well, until Carl actually cut his finger, and that's when strange things started to happen. He started to taste his own blood, which he described as cherry soda. Which he started hearing howlings, and made a quote from the 1931 film Dracula. Listen to them, children of the night. What music they make. Yeah. And soon, Carl became an actual vampire. He actually turned into a bat. Literally right in front of him. Which, Jimmy, it was not supposed to happen. That's when, and that's just alter his actual appearance. He actually altered his DNA, making Carl an actual vampire. Now, when Jimmy mentions Sheen, whoops, here comes the full moon. And then Sheen becomes an actual werewolf. And Jimmy and Goddard ran for their lives on the Harvard cart. Literally. Meanwhile, Jimmy's dad as the Frankenstein monster. You know how the monster is. I don't think that's nothing interesting yet. Back at the Jimmy and Goddard managed to arrive at a park during a foggy day, which they keep trying to find out how to defeat them. First, we talk about vampires, which, yeah. On Wednesday, garlic. Then when he's going to find out when he defeat a werewolf, that's when he hears the famed quote from the Wolfman, which was actually reminisced by Miss Fowl, which is actually pretty funny when she mentions, because she mentioned that she dated a werewolf, but that's another story for another time, which we never heard again, which is actually pretty cool. So yeah, when she mentions silver, anything silver, which tells good luck and brush your teeth. So meanwhile, Sheen and Carl accidentally managed to get their first two victims, Sydney and Libby. Which, yeah. Freddy countered Sydney and Carl at the alley where, well, you better turn her into a vampire. They encountered Libby and Sheen, which she questions Sheen if he had rabies, which he said he had his vaccines, which that's pretty funny. And both of them end up in a store where they encountered a weakness, like for Carl and Sydney, it was garlic, and for Sheen and Libby, it was silver. Ain't that weird? But yeah, soon they start to when they encounter each other. That's why they decided to join up as a team to terrorize the town. Yeah, an actual monster invasion. Meanwhile, Jimmy's trying to find a way until he realized he had an idea. So what he did? He activated the machine, but this time to make a few modifications so his DNA won't be altered, and activate it. Meanwhile, Hugh is still wandering around. And guess what? He's being followed. The song from the violin music from Frankenstein. Yeah. They all met together. And they start. That's when an angry mob shows up, try to terrorize them. And they head for a windmill, which is actually pretty funny. From all classic horror monster movies, a windmill. But yeah. That's when they see the weakness. Silver. Garlic. Fire bad. And also Sam, who owns the candy shop, asks for silver, garlic, and a redhead named Titsy, which Miss Fowl recalls, we didn't find a redhead. That's what you think. Which is actually pretty funny. That's when they countered Jimmy as the monster octopus from the movie that his dad was watching. His dad says, "Hermie, love you!" And he uses suction cups to suck all of them and scare the mob away. He brought them back to the machine and managed to fix their DNA and turn them back to normal. Which Jimmy's mom arrives with some healthy snacks which they didn't like. That's when Jimmy decides, "Don't worry, I have an idea." And guess what? Using his powers, he managed to ring every doorbell in Retroville, and still his octopus form which says "Trick or Treat" with an evil look. And we cut to the ending credits says "Happy Halloween." And yeah, that was A Nightmare in Retroville. And I tell you the truth, this was a good episode, a good Halloween special. Like, what happens if Jimmy makes a machine that'll turn you into a monster, not just physically, but through DNA as well. Yep. And we also got some examples from the machine that were not used, like the Invisible Man, the Phantom of the Opera. Instead, the ones that were chosen were the Wolfman, Dracula, the Frankenstein monster, and the Octopus monster. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jimmy's mom was dressed as the Bride of Frankenstein, so yeah, it makes a good gag. So yeah, it's actually pretty funny. But yeah, that was a good episode, I tell you what. And besides, this is from 2003. I was in first grade when this came out on Halloween. I was dressed as Ghostface for Halloween. And yeah, no kidding. When you're in first grade and dressed as a rated R serial killer, and here's the funny thing. I didn't know who Ghostface was. I just like the face. That caught my attention. That's it. That's the weird part. But yeah, let me know what you think of A Nightmare on Retroville. And I'll see you next time. But before I go, did you subscribe? Did you hit the bell? If you're new, hit those buttons so you'll miss a new video every day from Monday to Friday. And I'll see you next time. And tomorrow will be another episode of Jimmy Neutron. I can't remember. It's called. I think it's A Restless Night in Retroville. If you don't recall, you remember the pizza monster, right? That episode. So yeah, that'll be our next review. And until then, see you next time. Peace.